What's up, folks? You are tuned into the Failing Frequency. I am Ethan.
And I'm Mike.
And we're just a couple of dipshits from Chicago. And we like talking about we like talking about Star Trek.
We do indeed. Dipshits that we are. And what Trek are we talking about this week?
Oh, well, we're going to be pouring one out for our homies in the news section before we talk about this week's episode of Star Trek Picard, Season 3, Episode 4, The No-Win Scenario.
Yes.
But before we get into any of that, how you doing, Mike?
I'm doing good. Living the dream. Managed to wrangle my boss down and agree that I'll get a bonus at some point for working 100-hour weeks. And tomorrow I'm going to see Creed. So I'm really living a life of luxury.
Oh, yeah, the movie?
Creed 3. Yeah.
Not the Christian nu metal band from our day.
No. If they're even still around.
When you are will. Oh, man. Oh, God, Creed. Oh, God.
How are you doing anyway? We can't go on a Creed sidetrack. We'll stay on Creed for too long.
I was doing all right, I guess, until I had that fucking memory resurface. Yeah, no, all right. My face is like, I'm having like some face issues because like you can't see. That's why I'm balancing it out with the blue light. The fucking cat face came in last night and was like, I was like, what's up, cat face? And he was like, someone shat on me. He was covered in shit. So I had to put him in the bath. I had to put him in a shower, right? And it was traumatizing. Like
for both of you.
Oh, mate. Like, my partner straight up thought that I had trapped 2 cats in the bathroom. There was that much noise coming from in there. And then today, he still kind of stank a little bit, so I had to do it again.
Oh, fun.
That cat fucking hates me.
Poor cat face. Yeah. Anyway, let's move on to the news.
Yeah, man.
And we've got one big story, and I was going to get a prop and put a literal egg on top of my head because I couldn't be bothered smashing it over myself and cleaning it up. Of the amount of egg that's on my face from last week.
Oh man, you said it with such confidence. Yes,
I did.
Yes. So sadly, on March 2nd, 2023, literally minutes after we finished recording last week's episode, it was announced that Star Trek Discovery would be ending after its 5th season.
Yep. And they've gone back into production, haven't they, to film a proper ending for it.
Not only is it going to be the last series, but we're not even getting it until early 2024. Man.
Crazy.
I mean,
I cannot imagine. Like the last 2 seasons almost have ended on this could be the end of it anyway. Like it was a natural end point, especially last season. You know, it is, we're still exploring the galaxy and the Federation's won again. And, you know, it's time to go out and strange new worlds and do all that. And now they've had to go back and refilm an end for this one.
Well, I mean, you know, we've had so many series of Trek that have ended so very abruptly, you know. TOS didn't get a proper ending. TNG didn't get a proper ending.
TNG did.
Nah,
come on.
It didn't.
They knew they were ending because they were filming the film already.
Yeah,
pre-production was on the film. That's why season 7 has some really poorly written episodes.
Yeah, but see, I'll agree with you that, but like season 7 had some poorly written episodes because they didn't know that it was going to be the last season until they were already making it. You know, I'm sure if they'd have known
about that,
I'm sure if they'd have known way ahead of time. You got to watch Rowan J. Dowgill's retrospective. He goes deep. It's like a movie.
I have
like
seen
an hour
his
and
Enterprise ones.
Oh man, it's like an hour and a half.
Yeah, but they were certainly writing the script during the filming of season 7 because that's where half the writers went. All the decent writers, and the writers left were only like Geordie's got a mother. Worf has a brother.
Yep, pretty
What other
much.
family members can we bring in?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
It's sad.
Yeah.
But in terms of like what series they are and are not going to chop, it does kind of make sense
Mm.
that it's Discovery. Lower Decks
Yeah.
is too cheap. It's too cheap to cut. If they cut it, it's not even going to touch the sides.
No.
Prodigy, it's too expensive. Too much of a pain in the ass. If they fucking chop that, all of that effort for
Yeah.
nothing. Strange
Yeah.
New Worlds, too popular.
And too recent on. They
Too
can't kill
recent.
something straight after
Exactly.
second season.
Exactly.
Same with Prodigy.
Short treks, they already fucking canned.
Yeah.
Picard
by their own fuck-ups.
Picard, they're not going to be making another series anyway, because if they do, Patrick Stewart is going to turn into a cloud of dust.
Yeah.
So yes, guys, I mean, it's sad though, It is sad.
It's interesting at the moment. Before, let's say we're lucky and on First Contact Day, we get an announcement of a new series, like the Picard follow-on, Star Trek Titan or whatever, or something else, Star Trek Academy or Section 31. Ha 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 ha. He laughs. But at the moment, we've only got one series that we know that live action that is continuing on beyond the filming that they're doing at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Strange New Worlds. And it's like, okay. I mean, it's interesting that it's gone from 3 live action to animated to 1 live action to animated.
Yep.
It's interesting.
It's sad, Discovery. I mean, we wouldn't be doing this show without Discovery. We wouldn't have all the Star Trek that we were having. There was no Star Trek for so long.
Yeah.
And then Star Trek Discovery happened.
It's certainly, when you look at especially the first season, and the first season had production issues, crazy production issues, people leaving halfway
Ships of
through or being
Vision.
fired.
Brian Fuller made those first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
But look at the production value. If you go back to season 1 of Discovery, the production value that they were pulling in for a lot of that stuff was insane for Trek.
Yeah, man.
Way higher than anything Star Trek had got previously. Way higher than some of the movies that they'd got previously.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. There was some cinematography in that biatch. There was some fucking crazy special effects. There was some beautiful sets. That was before they brought in the little flamethrowers on the Discovery.
Yeah, before they decided every room needed a fire to keep warm. It's it's a shame, and I won't pretend that I've always liked the writing of it or anything like that, or even half the crew. But there's going to be a lot of people in that I miss. Culber and Stamets will be missed.
Absolutely.
Saru will be missed.
100%.
And his potential thing with Turina.
Oh,
the Vulcan.
Let's hope they fucking cap that off.
Yeah, I want one episode that is just full penetration.
Yes, absolutely. I want to see the rest of the mating ritual.
Yeah,
we know
get Saru's dick fingers out.
We know it's this.
Yeah,
we want to see where does it. Get them flaps going, Saru.
Yeah, he does have like dickish fingers as well. Like the prosthetic fingers that he's got are very like penis-like.
He's got all sorts of weird shit going on. I mean, we shouldn't say that. That's body shaming.
It is, I suppose, but he is a like half fish or squid or whatever. But yeah, will be missed. Vance missed. The rest of the cast I'm okay with. But
hey man,
that
Michael Burnham is a complicated character, but I'll tell you what, like in terms of representation Star Trek
Mm-hmm.
Discovery has done, it's done some of the best representation of the LGBTQ plus community.
Yeah.
It has, it's the first series led by a black woman.
Mm-hmm.
Disability representation going on with Detmer. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, it's annoying being as online as I am to see,
Mm.
people, certain people feeling somewhat justified,
Mm.
claiming that Star Trek got woke and went broke.
Yeah.
It's a
It,
pain in the
it
ass.
it's been a bit uh, annoying or angry on each side of the aisle after
Mhm,
this news, because there's the people saying, oh, finally they're cancelling the woke one or the woker one. And then there's the other side saying, oh, so they've axed the show. The only other shows they've got with black women in at the moment are Ahura,
mhm,
who had to be there,
mhm.
really, and the drug addict, poor, poor mother show
And
for
yeah, I mean, when
Rafi.
you put it like
And you
that, I mean,
go,
we do have Mariner as well, but let's be honest, Mariner,
true,
not
yeah.
a great role model.
She's fun enough.
She's
Yeah.
fun, absolutely, and she does her duty, but she does also insist on, being a
Mm.
bad role model.
Yeah, yeah. But
um,
it's not great on that side, especially when we've got Carol Kane now adding on to the Strange New World cast. It would have been probably a better idea, even though they have to leave at some point for Scotty to come in there,
yeah.
um, for you know a, a, a an person with Asian origin or someone that falls into the LGBT
Mhm.
crowd. Have them in there at some point as well,
Yeah.
because I don't think Carol Kane's going to fall into either of those categories, which seems
No.
like a missed opportunity. Really,
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
kill the person with a disability and replace them with a white character.
Mhm. Yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, she's Jewish.
There we go.
Her
Yeah.
family is from Russia, Austria, and Poland. I thought so. She's in Hunters. She's wonderful in Hunters.
Okay.
Another series that got cancelled way too early, but they ended on a
Hmm.
good note. But yeah, maybe she's going to be like super space Jewish, even more so than
Maybe.
Bajorans.
Mm, yeah.
Mm,
I mean, there's possibility, but yeah,
yeah.
it is a shame on the diversity front. The Adira and Gray, I was, um, I think they completely lost their way with those two characters
Yes.
halfway through last season, or at the start of last season. But it's representation matters, and
Hmm.
especially for a series like Trek, which is always the champion of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think the problem the problem with Adira and Gray wasn't anything to do with about their the LGBTQ of it all. It
Mm.
was entirely just the whole like of teenage love dramas. It's like,
Well, that and the second, which way round is it? Is Gray the ghost?
Gray was the ghost.
Gray, the second Gray gets a new body, they're just like, oh, Gray, you can hang around here. You can do this. There's nothing really for them to do.
Yeah. To be
Um,
fair, like yeah, like there was absolutely nothing for them to do.
hmm,
Like like you can just hang around, but just so you're aware, this is a place of work.
yeah,
This is like
is it? Yeah,
so a
but yeah,
place of work and feelings.
it's a CW the Flash esque thing where we'll chat about our feelings in the corridor for 30 minutes in a 45-minute show.
Oh God, it is.
Sometimes,
It is like that.
yeah.
Ugh.
So it's a shame. It's if I had to lose one, it would be the one I'd lose, but it's still a shame.
And
And egg
the
on my face.
oh no, you were
Confirmed.
just like, hey, Discovery's still going strong. They've got it. They're about to start filming some. You're like, I think they're just about to start filming something.
Yeah.
So I think they must be filming season 6.
Mm.
Wrong. Season 5
Yep.
reshoots, baby.
Yep. Fantastic.
What do you think they're gonna do? Do you think that we're gonna get a? Do you think that we're gonna get? Do you think they're gonna sandwich in a resolution to Short Trek's Calypso?
I think they want everyone to forget about it,
Oh man, it was the best
which is a
one.
real shame. Which is a real shame. They should have done, because Calypso was Homer's Odyssey, wasn't it? Or the
Mm,
first half of Homer's Odyssey, or a chapter of Homer's Odyssey. But it could have done another piece of that. I know the director at the time, or the director or writer, who I'm never going to
Homer.
remember the name of. No, of the episode of Discovery,
Oh.
was saying they would like to revisit it at some point and do kind of the Odyssey, but
Hmm.
from the Discovery view of it.
Yeah.
But I think they want people to forget about it.
Oh,
Short
that
tracks they're
sucks.
not doing anymore because they fucked themselves over anyway.
Yeah.
The second they decided to do short tracks for shows that were airing on different networks, it ruined it for them because they couldn't sell it anywhere.
Yeah. And it's a shame because, we had that storyline with Tilly and her friend. Where, could you imagine if we didn't have the short trek with her in it? Imagine how much of that episode would have been eaten up by exposition.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, I think for people in the UK, that episode was exposition because there was no the short track didn't air over here unless you acquired it through other means.
Yarr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think they're going to try and set up a sequel show to it, the Star
Well,
Trek Academy?
yeah, Alex Kurtzman has said that they're still wanting to go ahead with pre-production on that. Super don't care.
Yeah.
And it would be kind of pointless to cut a show and to then continue doing pre-production on a new show like Star Trek Titan, which they're definitely going to make, benefits from them already having all the sets.
Yeah.
Yeah,
True. Yeah. Which were pretty much redresses of the Stargazer set from
yeah,
season 2.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's probably some things you could reuse, like Starbase, whatever it was, Vance's Starbase, and the new shuttles and stuff like that. But I don't care about uh, Starfleet Academy in the 32nd century.
No,
You know,
no. What are they
yeah.
going to do? What is Starfleet Academy in the 32nd century? What does that even look like? Do they write
Well,
essays? Do they
we
what?
saw one episode, didn't we? And it was we saw all of Starfleet Academy's entry people, and there were about 40 people in a room.
Yeah.
So they're not staffing any new ships.
And what even is the academy at that time? Like it's the 32nd century. What could you possibly write a paper on?
Yeah.
That is like a
I
paper is literally just fucking 6 pages of citation.
Either way, I can see it possibly being a thing. I don't think they'll pick Tilly to lead it.
I don't think
at
she's
all.
into it. I don't think the actress is into it. What's her name?
Mary Wiseman.
Mary Wiseman. I don't think she's into it. There was that on Star Trek Day last year. There was that behind the scenes footage
Yeah.
where the doctor was like taking everyone around and like she did not seem into it.
No.
Yeah.
I just can't see it happening, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frakes has said that it sucks. I know what it's like, but that's showbiz, baby. But he's also said that he's got a satisfying ending planned. Uh-oh. Are you thinking what I'm thinking, Mike?
It's all on a holodeck.
It's all gonna be Riker on a holodeck.
He needs to insert himself. You know, he's running out of time to insert himself into the show before it ends. Because he was in TNG, he was in Voyager, he was in DS9, he was in Enterprise, he's in Picard now. He's run out of time to be in Disco if he doesn't get this season.
Oh man, maybe they'll put him in. Maybe they'll stick some shit to his face, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll meet. Well,
Sideburns
maybe we'll
again.
meet William Riker the fucking 17th.
Yeah. Find out like Thomas Riker got stuck on ice by the Cardassians and he just gets de-forward, you know, brought out with suspension.
That would be amazing.
Yeah.
Ah.
But yeah, he's running out of
Well.
time. He needs to get in.
Oh well.
I just want eventually, you know how there's so much literature and, you know, the Shatner
Nerd.
documentaries. You know the Shatner documentaries where it's like Chaos on the Bridge and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I want that for this, like for Discovery, for Strange New Worlds, whatever. Like this last 10 years has been absolutely mental with people coming in and leaving and, you know, shows having to pivot very quickly.
Yeah.
I just want that, you know. Maybe we'll have to wait a couple years until NDAs, you know, go out the window.
Yeah.
But yeah, interesting.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a lot of interviews of actors going, well, we were all having a blast, but the whole time, out of the corner of our eyes, we could just see guys in the background with clipboards running around like a blue-assed fly.
Yeah.
Like we were having a blast. They were in constant panic.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, Picard episode
Let's do it.
No Win Scenario, directed by John O'Frakes.
Yeah, man.
Non spoilers. What did you think of it?
So.
Really?
Yeah. I enjoyed it. I think the problem that I had was that my partner hated it and kept fucking pausing it to complain.
Why did they hate it?
And also the lighting. We had
Well,
to
yeah.
fuck with the lighting settings more than ever.
TV in general nowadays, this prestige TV, whatever, you know, it's not the golden age of TV anymore. It's the silver or bronze. But everything is so fucking dark. Mando this week, dark. Picard this week, dark.
Well, like there was one of the producers of the show did tweet a picture of like a side by side comparison of one shot, saying like this is what was on TV and this is what it was supposed to look like. That's what it was supposed to look like, and like I saw that and I was like, oh, he's wearing a blazer. He's not just wearing a black shroud. He's not just wearing a cloak.
Yeah. I think the truth lies between those photos, and I'll put them up here. You know, but on the photo they've shared, where it is much later, or it is Terry Metalis, or Casey Tube or whoever. That looks like it's been artificially brightened to me. You know, under the table looks like it's just like a very deep black that's just been lifted up, if you know what I mean. So it's lost all its detail.
I mean, like that was the problem that we were having when we were fucking with the settings. Is like when we were turning it up, like all the black just turned into solid grey.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So I did have that trouble with it. Certainly. Was that the main issue your partner had?
The main problem that my partner had was with a lot of the dialogue.
Okay.
It was with a lot of the dialogue, and like, you know, to be fair, it was a lot of you know, it was a lot of plop. I do feel as though in hindsight, like the resolution of the episode didn't necessarily have to come at the end of the episode. Like this episode was a lot of this. A lot of this.
Yeah.
Not enough of
Last couple have
this.
been, haven't they? Really,
You know.
it's
Um,
been 3 episodes within this nebula that could have been
hmm.
two. You know, a solid two-parter.
But you know, it's a lot of good. There was some really good, strong character moments.
Mm.
Um, you know, it was clearly a lot of, everyone's clearly enjoying chewing the scenery. Um,
Hmm.
you know, Frakes directing, he directs people very well, and there was some great moments that I enjoyed. But
Yeah,
yeah, there was definitely I struggle to find an opinion on this episode, and I think it's because of all of the complaining I've heard today about this episode.
really.
So I'm maybe not the best person to ask.
Maybe I can lift your spirits during our
I'll tell you
recording
what.
then.
After we've talked about it in spoilers, I will have a much clearer opinion on this episode. I
Okay.
feel
I, I will try and because I will try and lift your spirits because I thought this is my favorite episode so far.
right.
Um, I think every member of the cast we see, or every major character, gets something to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they're all doing something, whether it's, Bev gets something, Jack, Picard, Riker, Shaw, Seven, they're all doing something to further the plot.
Mm-hmm.
There's one or two contrivances, like where people jump between scenes, and they're not changelings, and you go, okay, but you were there doing this, and now you're there doing this. One character in
Mm-hmm.
particular, I'll do in spoilers. Um, but I thought it was like a very, it felt more TNG to me, and maybe it's just because there's things to sucker me in, like a Picard log and stuff like that. But it feels more in wonder of the universe and feels more structured, like a story that has a resolution at the end of it,
Mm-hmm.
and we're
Yep.
still
A lot of
revealing
teamwork. A
things.
lot of
Yeah,
teamwork.
yeah.
A lot of teamwork going on. A lot of people standing around talking.
There's a conference room scene.
Yes.
What do people want?
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. So that's what I thought. Maybe I can win you back. Maybe I can cheer your disposition on the episode up.
Yeah, man. We'll
Yeah,
see.
we'll see. Right, run through the episode then. The Titan is dead in the water and falling deeper into the nebula. Picard takes Jack Crusher to a holodeck recreation of Tenford Bar for a drink and to get to know him better before they die. They talk through one of Picard's experiences with Jack Crusher Sr. Shaw busts in and talks about how Picard, as Locutus, destroyed the USS Constant, his ship he was serving on as an engineer. They leave him bump into Bev, who's worked out the bioelectric pulses in the nebula are contractions of a space womb. And Jack comes up with an idea to ride the biowave out and channel its energy into the warp core. Shaw and Seven get tasked with jerry-rigging their cells to absorb the energy, but they know doing so will make them prime targets for the Changeling. The Changeling arrives and Seven kills it. Riker cedes command to Picard, as he's done something like this before, and they ride the wave out of the womb, on the way throwing a meteor at the Shrike and disabling it. Everyone embraces to celebrate their escape. Picard remembers Jack in disguise visiting him 5 years ago, and Picard telling him that Picard didn't need any family outside of Starfleet. My words, I'm stumbling all over today. Jack is also still seeing visions of the Red Door.
Oh, the scary door.
The scary red door.
Oh, not the door. But yeah, what did you think of the flashback to?
So this is the third episode that started with a flashback in a
Yep.
row out of 4. This was episode 4, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's a bit heavy for me, to be honest.
Definitely seems
And
to be the framing device they're going with for this season.
yeah, and I can't really see it ending because we need to find out why Jack has this sort of red door fetish. So we
Yeah.
probably want to jump back to that. So it seems to be very flashbacky based. It's like watching Lost or something like that.
But
where the
with
characters only realize parts of the flashback as we see the flashback.
but like it's Guinan's bar from the 20 from next year.
Yeah.
It's it's is it also on a holodeck?
No, wait. We have seen that bar in the current time period of Picard. Like the resolution of last season, they're drinking in Picard in Guinan's bar with Eleanor and stuff like that.
But is it in the 25th century?
Yeah, 100%, 100%. We've seen that bar
But
when
we've also
Picard
seen
goes to
that bar
see.
looking all old, grey and 25th century. Does
Yeah,
it have
like it,
modes?
who
It's
who the fuck knows?
22nd. It's 21st century night down at 10 forward. We've
Yeah,
got the
the
candles out.
only they have that thing behind the bar that's like a Windows screensaver, and that's kind of it. That
Yeah.
blue sort of piece behind, and that's sort of it. But we have seen that bar a couple of times. Like when we saw Whoopi Goldberg Guinan last season, it was in that bar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Uh, but what do you think of it as a framing device that we're still doing
I don't mind.
flashbacks
I
and
don't
stuff like
mind
that?
flashbacks as a framing device.
Mm,
It's a classic.
yeah.
It's a classic. Like Star Trek is more narrative. This version of Star Trek, anyway, that we get with
Mm,
Picard and Discovery, it's it tends to be more structured,
mm,
continuous. You know, we've got, in terms of framing devices, we've gone in a completely different direction with Picard this season, so
yeah.
I'm fine with it.
The only thing that like minorly saves it from being far too repetitious of being a framing device is having Jack there at the
Oh,
end.
what Jack in his fucking Steve Rogers in incognito
Yeah,
mode get up.
MCU hat
Yeah,
on.
leather jacket,
Um,
baseball cap. I was like, where's the aviators?
yeah, but like if it was just a cutesy framing device of people need to work together, I would have been incredibly annoyed by it.
Yeah.
With it being Jack there and more insight into Jack did go to visit him, but was kind of shooed away by saying he didn't need family. That's the only thing that's held that together for me, really.
Yeah.
Mm.
That whole thing was it can it can easily sound shitty, but like it
Mm.
is sort of, it's paired up with that moment of him looking around the bridge on the Titan
Mm.
and seeing the crew all hug and kiss, and
Mm.
being like, oh, he wasn't being a dick. Like, Starfleet is a family. Like, oh, okay,
Yeah, that and
I
paired
see.
with Picard in the 5 years ago past, kind of being somewhat remorseful after saying that anyway.
Hmm.
You see him say that he doesn't need any, or Starfleet has been at all the family he needed, but then he's also like, you know,
He's just
he
he's
could have done
he's
with a
just
family
like,
as well.
I didn't really mean that. It was just a line. I would really like to eat my lunch.
Yeah,
Haddock,
that that
haddock,
lunch was cold
the
as hell. That
Yorkshireman. Ah, now run with a bit of whole cold haddock from earlier. It was cooked
yeah,
before. They'd be fine as long as it's still salty.
yeah.
Yeah, he's a fucking Yorkshireman. It'd be right.
Hmm. We do hear Picard and Worf fought against Hirogen as
Yeah,
well
it's
during that
fucking
piece.
cool, man.
It's interesting. Yeah, we
I'm
know
I'm
that
loving
Hirogen
all
had that
these, like,
network or whatever.
I'm loving all these allusions to like
Mm.
things that happened that we haven't seen. Like,
Yeah.
otherwise, like, if it was all just references to things we'd seen, it's like,
Mm.
did you do absolutely nothing in between any of that?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No, I do really like that. I do really like that. Um, but yeah, we spend a lot of the time in the recreation of the 10 forward bar.
Yeah. A pub, just a bar.
Just a
Picard,
bar.
place is very special to me. Yes, to you. To no
Yeah.
one else. To none of the
When they
viewers. To none of the audience. No one else gives a fuck.
when they say as well, Picard saying, and it's a framing device, or it's a not a framing device. It's stolen from Voyager. Why they can still use the holodeck when all their other systems are begging for power, and he's
Right.
like, no, we have this so we can, you know, people can huddle together in times of sorrow, and if they're going to die, they can die in, nature or some shit like that. And then Picard's gone in there and he's like, holodeck, I want somewhere that's meaningful to me.
Yeah.
Fuck all these other guys.
Everyone. Yeah. Yeah. So one of the major complaints that my partner had that I agreed with was the egregious product placement of
Of
Jameson's
which?
whiskey.
Okay, yeah.
And like I got to agree with them. I do not like
At least they're not.
I do not like capitalism in my fully automated luxury gay space communism.
You know what? I wasn't bothered by that. I was bothered by Picard goes behind the bar, and before they decide on the Jamesons, he goes like, "Oh, and there's even wine, and it's a good year." And it's like it's a
It's
holodeck recreation.
replicated.
Yeah.
What the fuck are you talking about? When he says, "Oh, I'll have cheap." That's
Yeah.
Jameson's. That's brand.
Yeah.
It's not the same as cheap. When you say cheap whiskey, the bottle should be handwritten. Cheap Irish whiskey should be made in an Irishman's fucking bathtub.
Yeah. They've clearly decided they can make more money off probably doing a product placement with Jameson's than they were going to make through selling more Picard wine bottles than they already sell.
But like when he said like, "Oh, whiskey," and he's like, "Yeah, cheap and on the rocks," and I was like, because I was like, "Is he gonna just pull up a bottle of green?"
Yeah.
The Aldebaran whiskey?
Yeah.
And like I was like, are we gonna get the line?
I mean, he
like,
could have.
What is that?
He could have replicated one.
It is green. But instead, I mean, I guess they did the closest thing. Irish whiskey.
And to be fair, everything in the holodeck is replicated stuff, so probably tastes like shit anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
so it's all going to taste like. Well, it's going to taste like
shit anyway.
But yeah, what annoyed me slightly, we get the joke about hair loss, ha 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 ha. But then Picard asks how old Jack is, and Picard says, 23, 24. 24 years ago was before the events of Star Trek Nemesis, which I am still at some point going to make a video on. So how he would be 24. Ed Spielers is still mid-30s.
Yeah. When he says like 23, 24, and he goes, it's because maybe swap a couple of those numbers around.
Yeah.
Fucking 23, 24. Stupid. I mean, like, I am not saying he doesn't look great. He's a handsome man. But he is a 34-year-old fucking model. Like...
Yeah. Bear in mind as well, we look like shit because we are ingesting microplastics day in, day out. We breathe in microplastics. The grass is grown from microplastics.
Mate, I have
we
never
look
put
terrible.
A second into looking after myself.
Yeah.
I used to model. I used to be beautiful. I tried a fucking filter on TikTok that made me look young the other day, and I nearly cried. Like, I had to turn it off. I was going to make a video, and I didn't. It was really depressing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was so beautiful. I look like a young Brandon Lee. Whatever.
Before or after the being shot. Now you look like Brandon Lee after being shot.
Like Brandon Lee. I look like Brandon Lee now.
Yeah.
Ish.
Back to the episode though. Well, what else we got? We've got this plan that is built on what Picard did to score some tail with Jack Crusher Senior.
Oh my
That
god!
is
I
him using
thought
the thrusters.
I thought he was. I thought that he was telling the story of how Jack Crusher died, and he was like, "Well,
Yeah,
me and Jack were gonna go fucking chase some tail," and I was like, "Is this how he tells the story of how Jack
yeah.
Crusher fucking died?" And he's like,
Mm.
"Yeah, man, we were on a booty call. Oh man, it was some crazy. We were invited. Anyway, then he fucking died."
Yeah. Whoops.
I was like, "Oh fuck."
It also like harkens back to Picard using the thrusters to get out of a situation in the TNG episode. Do you remember the booby trap? Um, uh, they're in an asteroid field. There's this old ancient vessel, and Picard's like, "Oh, I want to go see that."
Oh,
And
the
then
ships
that
in the battle. I used to play ships in the battle.
it might be that episode, but that ship like shuts down all the electrics within the D, and they have to use like a pulse of the warp core and then thrusters to
All
navigate
right.
through whatever. And Picard's doing the thrusters for that, so it kind of links back that he's the thruster king.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah,
Um, we also get Picard dropping a fucking F bomb, baby.
hmm. With
Oh, my partner
Shaw.
hated that.
Really?
Oh, I
Okay.
know. I was just like, what? That's awesome. Oh,
It was
10
just
fucking hours.
Oh, I was thinking the one where he's talking to Shaw later on, um, where he says he's like, in fact, it's not the F word. What is
No,
it? He
no,
says he's
Shaw
like a
calls
dickhead
himself a
from Chicago.
dipshit from.
Di-
I'm just a dipshit from Chicago.
yeah, and Picard repeats that back to him later on.
That's the funniest line in the episode. I'm just a dipshit from Chicago, okay?
Yeah, and can we mention how right we were on Shaw being a survivor from the USS Constant
Yes,
and
spot
Wolf
on with that one,
359?
mate. That was a good call.
Yeah, I mean, someone's a more obvious than Discovery not having a sixth season. Somewhat.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that stuff with Shaw was. I think Shaw in this episode was great. The stuff I was talking about in non spoilers, where people jump between scenes that with little logic, is like Seven goes to see Shaw about the changelings,
Mm.
and Shaw's in his room,
Sharpening a
nursing
knife,
himself, sharpening a knife.
presumably about to
Then,
commit Klingon ritual suicide.
yeah. And then Shaw goes down to the holodeck to be like, you killed all my, friends
Yeah.
20 years ago.
Well, I was gonna
And
kill
then like,
myself, but I'm kind of off my tits now, so I'm gonna go fuck around.
yeah. And then next scene again, he's in his room. And it's just like he's jumped between places with no kind of like, why did he leave his room? Why did he go back to
Why
his
is he
room?
not in sick bay?
Seven and Shaw, where he says, you need to look for the pot.
Yeah, you gotta take
It's
his
like,
pot.
yeah,
You
you
mean
don't mean
cannabis?
cannabis. Yeah,
I love that
that
line.
was that was a down point of the episode for me, though. Like, why does he have a pot that is like Odo's pot? He could just go in a
It's a
puddle in the shower
bucket,
or
like,
whatever.
well, but also like it's obviously a bucket. Like that's what it's always been called. Why would you call it a pot?
Yeah,
You gotta take his
but
pot to find the residue.
yeah,
I love that.
he could just turn into like he could just liquefy into a vase. Why does it
Well, I
need to
mean
be?
that's the thing. I think
It's
because
so dumb.
I think
So dumb. And then it doesn't factor into anything because Seven's carrying it, and the guy goes like, "Bah," and
that's
slips away.
my fucking pot.
Yeah, I've got a connection to that
Get
pot.
your hands off my pot, you bitch.
Yeah, so dumb,
It
so
annoyed
dumb.
me that like I didn't mind that joke. I didn't mind
Mm.
the you got to steal his pot. And she's like, "Is cannabis?"
It's a
Uh,
fine enough joke, but him having a pot was the
yeah.
piece that annoyed me. It's
I
like,
liked
come on,
that
man.
they said cannabis and not marijuana, because
Yeah,
marijuana is thinly veiled racism. Did you know that one, Mike?
I did. Good
Yeah.
reason why it's banned in the US. It's
Yep.
all racism on that side.
Yep. But residue. Um,
Yeah.
I didn't mind. I thought that was funny. Um,
Hmm.
but um, what annoyed me is that they only said it twice.
Yeah. Rule freeze. Yeah.
Comes in threes, man. Comedy works in
Yeah.
threes. They should have had another scene where she's like, "I found the bucket. It has the residue," and someone goes, "Residue," and she's like, "Residue." Anyway,
Or after she shoots it, saying like, and they, fix it, they call for someone to clean up the residue.
that would have been good.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Commander 7 to Ops. We've got
Mm.
residue on deck 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good as well, I think, like calling out that Seven hasn't had to deal with changelings before, because
Mm.
of course she hasn't,
Yeah,
because Voyager was away for all that sort of shit.
yeah. And Shaw explaining to her I mean like
Mm. It's a good
usually
setup, isn't
usually
it?
it's kind of easy to figure them out.
Mm.
You've just got to do that classic TV trope of
Mm.
saying something that only they would know about.
Yeah.
Like if I were to say to you, blah 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 blah, you might think, "Oh, I'm a changeling because you're a dick, because I'm a
Yeah.
dick." like,
Mm. Yeah.
at least he knows he's a dick.
He knows he's a dick. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's a good setup as well, and links back in like that whole Crash LaForge scene from last week. Links back in as well, so it's not just a wasted fucking scene.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, no, she gives me respect. She calls me what I
Yeah.
want.
Out of respect. A lot of people complained of why did they have to have that exchange? Um definitely an instance of telling and not showing, or relying on kind of explaining it to the audience, and a lot, it's not about
Mm,
explaining it to the audience, it's about reinforcing that Shaw doesn't get it to the audience,
yeah.
because I think that they're leaning quite heavily into the fact that Shaw insists on calling Seven Commander Hansen, and
Mm,
Shaw is dead naming Seven of Nine, and
yeah.
quite clearly Shaw does not get that that's what's going on,
Mm,
or doesn't get that it's that important. Like we've just said, he knows he's a dick, but
he
maybe he
knows he's
just
a
thinks that it's not that big a deal. It's just something that he can poke someone with, but not that it's
yeah.
a deep integral aspect of their fucking humanity.
Mm.
You know?
And it gives his character room to grow.
Hmm.
So next time he refers to Commander, he's not going to refer to Seven as Hanson again. He's
Mm-mm.
probably going to call her Seven.
Yeah.
There's that growth in there as well that
Yep.
we'll be able to see, no doubt, next episode or the episode after,
Yeah.
before Shaw is knocked out again or whatever.
Yeah. Knock him out.
I think it was real. I think it was real dumb that he's the only one who knows how to open the nacelles up on his ship.
Yeah.
I get
Well,
he's an engineer and it set it up that he was an engineer, but it's like, are you kidding? You're the only person. You're in command. What do you do nine times
man,
out of
there
10?
is so many people. There is 500 people on that ship, and what are any of them doing?
Yeah,
The conference room scene that we got, none of the crew were in it. It was the
that's
two
fine. That's
admirals that
fine.
commandeered the ship,
Hmm.
a
Admiral and
fucking
Captain.
a fucking Doctor Space Pirate, and a
Yeah.
former Starfleet medical officer,
Hmm.
right? And then the crew, when we cut to them at the door, are stood
They're all looking in.
outside.
Yeah. They're all like, hello? Okay. What?
there is no one in the fucking meeting who should be there.
Yeah. I do like that conference room being,
Right there.
it feels like an extension of the bridge rather
Yeah.
than you go through a door. Like on TNG, you go through a door and then you go like, okay, they're clearly in a set that's probably like a mile away.
Yeah. Yeah, but
It's nice
also,
at being in the same.
yeah, but it's easy to
Geography.
hide because of the terrible lighting.
Well, yeah.
You know.
I do agree on the lighting. I should say.
We got
So
more of
that
that,
cut.
like, when the pulse from the piss flash or the amniotic fluid cloud. You know, well, the lights only ever go up when the shit goes down. It's just like that shouldn't be the case, though.
Yeah.
We can
Well,
only we can
see.
only ever see we can only actually see what the fuck is going on
No,
when we are actually in danger.
I'm okay minorly excusing it for this episode because this episode they
Still
are
need
like,
some actual fucking lighting.
but they are down on energy. They are running on like the lowest of reserves. I can get it for this episode only. The last couple of episodes, waste.
Yeah.
Turn the lights up.
Yeah.
This episode, I get. Next episode, I want it to be brighter.
Yeah.
I've got in my notes hopes for next episode. The same way I had hopes for this episode that they get out the nebula. Hopes for next episode be brighter.
Yeah.
So we can see stuff.
I'm still hoping for if 7 of 9 takes over, the first thing she does is turn the fucking lights up.
Yeah. Ball cubes are pretty dark. Maybe she's used to it.
Yeah, but she's also used to being on Voyager.
Yeah. How did you pull last episode that they were going to use the pulses to power up? Because I thought that was fairly obvious.
I think, saying that there was like bioelectric stuff going on was very easy, sort of leading. Wasn't expecting that, it was going to be that they were in a space womb.
A womb. And
yeah, man.
riding the wave out there. I wasn't expecting that, but the second, like last week, where it was like it's bioenergy, I was like, okay, that's gonna be how you charge the ship or whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
The counting of the contractions.
Yeah, that's what Bev got something to do in an episode.
Yeah, she
other
counted.
than like be like, this person is dead.
She counted multiple times.
Yeah.
The first
but
time
she worked that out. She is like, she's the MVP of that episode. But like, she's worked out.
But like, she's there counting. She's like, everyone, like, shit. Everyone's fucking shit's going down. You're in the sick bay. Everything's going down, and every now and then, this old retired lady's like, 5, 4.
Yeah.
It doesn't explain. Everyone's like, what the fuck is she? I don't know. Ignore her. Put pressure. But I like that the first time that she started the countdown, she started from 7, while the shot was still on 7. That's classic. Yeah. Really good match cut, Jonathan Frakes style, like silly match cut. Like, it reminded me of last week when he said turn around, and we just cut to the ship turn around.
Yeah. I do like as well, like when Bev and Picard are like convincing Riker to go in for this plan. It is, let's do what we do best, or let's do what we spent our lives like training for, sort of stuff, rather than just like, okay, let's die and leave a good message behind.
Yeah.
Riker was much better. Like the end of last episode where he's like, "You've killed us all, Picard." He's much better this episode where he's like, if we all work together, we can get out of this. So much better portrayed this ep than last.
Yeah. We did get some great Riker moments, like him going to record a message to Troy and just being like, Deanna. Like, we've all been there. Can
I talk about? Can I say he says he left Deanna because she could feel him like being empty after the loss of their son,
Hmm.
who, by the way, died before season 1 when we
Yes.
saw him, and he seemed very happy cooking pizzas.
He was having a blast.
He was having a blast. But can you? I can understand why Riker would leave Deanna as well, because Deanna's main thing, including when we see her this episode, when we actually see her, is pointing out the bleeding obvious.
You're
So
sad.
can you imagine,
You're
like, after you've lost your son, and she just goes like, "I sense you're sad," and it's
yeah,
like,
like yes.
"Yeah, yeah,
Why the
I'm
fuck do you
sad.
think I've
Thank you
been
very much."
shoveling pizzas into this fucking clay pot for 7 hours?
Yeah. And then when we do see her this episode, she's like, Riker's told her the story of, they thought they were going to die and stuff like that. And then she goes, "Are you and Jean Luc in trouble?" And it's like, great, cool. People writing Deanna have not missed a beat on like being stating the bleeding obvious. What's
Yep.
happening in the plot? They're in trouble. Are you in trouble? Great, cool, perfect. That is Deanna down to a T, really.
I did love the scene at the start of the episode after the flashback when we get,
Mhm.
Picard in the beautiful TOS style bisexual lighting.
Yeah.
Um, like I've almost got it. I've almost got
Mhm.
the bisexual lighting. And we
Mhm.
got Riker coming in and being like, "We've been all over the galaxy, and I have seen nothing that makes me think that there is any life after any of this." And I'm like, haha, yes, why would you? There's nothing. It's blackness. There's
He
nothing.
hasn't seen the great koala of the galaxy. He has not seen. You know?
Yeah, man, just sweet oblivion, baby.
Yeah. Well, in Star Trek, there is you can ascend
Yeah, but it's more like
nowadays.
a psych. It's more like a psychic higher dimension
Yeah,
for some
it's
people. There is a
it's
mechanism in
ascension
place.
like Stargate
There,
ascension.
there is a
Yeah,
mechanism in place. There
yeah.
is no, but it's not supernatural.
No,
It's almost biological.
yeah.
There's nothing.
Mm,
Nothing.
nothing. Um, I did really like him using the tractor beam against the Shrike
Just like,
because
oh, oh, oh,
it's pretty much calling back
do
what the
this.
Shrike did to them.
But it's so like spur of the moment as well.
Yeah.
Like he almost went, ooh, oh,
You know
no,
what it is?
do
It
the
is
thing.
incredibly similar to as well. Do you remember Galaxy Quest? How they take out the bad guy ship in Galaxy Quest, where there's like
No.
magnetic mines, and they fly the ship through the magnetic mines to gather them all up, and then fly at the enemy
Mm,
vessel and just dump them on them.
yeah,
It's very similar to that.
it was. Well, I mean, if Star Trek wants to copy Star Trek as much as it does
Yeah.
like to copy Star Trek, they may as well copy
Mm.
some of the best Star Trek, which is Galaxy Quest.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
no, I loved the kind of like spur of the moment, like, oh, let's do the thing that they did
Yeah.
now
Like,
while we've got them. Like,
yeah. There was. I agree with
just like
your partner on some clunky dialogue. When after Riker does that, and Bev is like, "Did you just throw an asteroid at them?" And he's like, "Yeah,
you
damn right I
goddamn
did."
right I
Or
did. Well, that's one of
yeah,
his like he's said that a couple of times in TNG. That's kind of one of Riker's lines. You're
yeah,
goddamn right I did.
yeah.
Oh, speaking of classic lines,
Hmm. Oh yeah, they pull down.
had to do it. Had
Yeah,
to do it.
yeah. He's not even wearing that shirt anymore that
It's
needs to
just
be pulled
muscle
down. That
memory, in it.
spandex.
Muscle
Yeah,
memory.
yeah. Fine. Okay, cool. They're really leaning on. He said engage in the last 2 episodes as well, or maybe he said it episode 2 rather than episode 3. But it's like it does lose. the fanfare of him getting in command and saying engage when he said it 2 episodes ago or whatever. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care. Yeah. Other notes I had on this episode, we haven't even touched on Vadik apparently being a changeling by the look of it.
Apparently being the changing by the look of it.
Yeah.
Although, why did she look like she was in pain cutting off a slice of herself? Is that a thing? Why does she have a scar?
I don't know. It's very weird.
Why does she
Maybe
have
she's not a
Shinzon's knife? Why does she
maybe
have
she's not a
Shinzon's
changeling.
stupid mall ninja knife?
She's been bonded with a changeling or something like that. I don't
Maybe.
get it. Yeah. It's very strange. It's very strange.
Oh,
And smoking, are changelings like, did they have their first hit of nicotine and were like, no, I
if you
really
form
fucking love
lungs,
this?
you can do this thing that solids do called smoking. She has this line, run, and they will
Open your jaw wide enough and eventually prey runs right into the mouth of the beast. It's weird that changeling communicator as well. Like you cut off a piece of yourself and it makes like an Andros head that you talk to. And
yeah.
we've never seen changelings communicate, so they could have been doing that all the way through DS9 for all we know.
So notes I've got. I think it's funny that in the 25th century, people are still saying, "Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt."
Yeah, there's a couple of like colloquialisms this episode where it's like, okay,
Like, I'm just a dipshit from
right.
Chicago.
Yeah, yeah.
Listen, I'm just. I
Um,
love that line so much. But
we
I've got
hear Shaw say that the real Borg are still out there.
real Borg is still
He
out there, yeah.
he says like, forget that shit you did on the Stargazer last year, which is the same year as this year.
Forget that shit you did the other day.
Yeah, he's like the Borg are still out there, and you're the only person that they've named, and they
Yeah.
called you Locutus.
See, like so deadly that they named you Locutus. From what I understand, Locutus is Latin for the speaker,
Yeah,
or like
yeah,
the mouthpiece kind of thing. Like Locutus was supposed to be like Sauron's the mouth of Sauron from that deleted
yeah.
scene from Return of the King. Like it's got nothing to do with him being um deadly. It's to do with him being
Technically, he wasn't even in command
no.
of the Borg then, because we see flashbacks in First Contact that the Queen was there.
Yeah.
So the Queen was using him for, okay, what is the Federation going to do next? Tell us the codes to those ships so we can turn the shields off and shit like that.
Yeah.
He wasn't in command. It's very like against Cisco. Cisco in Emissary,
Yeah.
I think it's first episode of DS9. That scene was Shaw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was it was good to see like a real sign that like, Picard is an old man because of the way that he reacted to that. He let him finish. He's like, I'm gonna let him finish.
I'm gonna let you finish.
I'm gonna let you finish, but Beyonce had one of the best music videos of all time.
Yeah.
But no, he let him finish, and then he was like, "Right, I'll see you later."
Yeah.
He let him have his piece, and then he's like, "I'm too old for this. I don't need to. I've spent fucking decades defending myself about Locutus, so I'm gonna."
But he hasn't really. Like,
but he
when
understands
Cisco came up against him on Locutus stuff, he was just like, yes, well.
But that was a million years ago.
Yeah.
that was a long time ago. He's probably had decades and decades and decades of survivors of Wolf 359 coming up to him saying shit like that, and him just going, "I'm gonna let you finish because it's important to you that you say this, and
Yeah.
I don't need to defend what happened."
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree with that.
You know,
Mm. Yeah.
So yeah, that was
He hasn't
that was
made
cool.
peace with it, but he knows that, you know, it's gonna do better for those people having a go at him and
Yeah,
releasing that energy
absolutely,
at him than holding it in. Mm.
absolutely. Um, I've got here like two notes spaced apart that show my actual thought process as it was happening when
Hmm.
Crash LaForge comes into engineering, and I've got wait, who's flying the ship?
Yeah.
Couple lines down. Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun.
The first scene they go back to the bridge. After that, it does start on Crash LaForge as well to be like, no audience members that weren't paying attention. She's still alive.
Yes,
Here she is.
yes.
Yeah.
Still really great. Fucking John Carpenter, gross looking changeling. You know, like when he
Mm.
was like slipping into the wall.
Yeah.
Ugh,
I've no
gross.
idea when they killed it, when Seven killed it, it didn't, turn into goo again. It just stayed as Crash for some
Weird,
reason.
weird.
It's also like Seven's the first person who's killed a changeling that we know about, other than Odo, maybe.
No, they killed. They killed. Oh no, it died last
It
week. It
died.
just died. They just let it die.
Yeah.
Huh. Hmm.
So like, and we know
Seven's so
changeling
badass.
changelings don't like people killing, ones of their own, really.
No. Oh
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. She's gonna be
Yeah.
fucking. She's gonna be like in the fucking crosshairs now, isn't she?
Yeah. It's bad enough when Odo did it. They were like, "We'd kill you if you were bloody solid.
Yeah,
So we're
man.
gonna turn you solid." Um,
Um, we also the Wrath of Khan references just keep on coming because
mm,
um you know the the concept of time was all over the place in this
yeah.
episode. It was real. Minutes, hours, not minutes, minutes, not
Mm,
seconds. Those last fucking 2 minutes took a very long time.
yeah. Mm,
Um, and like that's part of the reason why people were getting so annoyed at the little exchange in engineering that was going on. It's like, why are you talking?
just shoot.
Just crack on.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and yeah. Oh, what
I
was
tell
it?
you,
Oh,
it's weird. It's weird.
wait 4 seconds, and it was like six.
Yeah. I don't even understand why that whole like wait 4 seconds and then do it. If you'd done it early, if you're flying towards something, if you do something early, like down, that's as good as doing it like here.
Yeah, when you're
Like, just
trying to dodge a
do it.
thing,
Yeah, do it
trust
whenever,
me,
you fucking idiot.
trust
It'd be
me.
like it'd be like seeing a red light and being like, "Don't stop yet,"
No.
when you're driving and being like, "Now stop."
Yeah, no, it was
Yes, we've done
yeah,
it.
man. It was just like I chalked that down to like, maybe the lighting was
Yeah,
good when they shot it and they were like,
yeah.
"Wait, we need an excuse to cut back to Jack here."
Yeah, it was really like false stakes for me on that one, where
I mean,
Crash is like, my instruments are down, and he's like, Jack, you read them out, and it's like, you've got a fucking window in front of you. Look out the
there's
fucking
a fucking
window.
ops guy just like, my
Yeah,
job is literally to read things out.
yeah, so
The
dumb,
whole
so
episode
dumb.
was low stakes. Like, oh, how are we gonna get out of
Oh,
this
falling
gravity
into the
well?
thing.
Like,
Yeah.
no, did at any point in this episode did you think that that everyone on the ship was gonna die?
Well, obviously not, but you've got to
Like,
absorb yourself into that conceit, week on week for shows. An episode of TNG, episode 13 or whatever, when people get devolved, in Genesis, you're not going to be like, oh, is everyone going to stay as like a dog? Is Worf going to stay as a targ? Is
yeah, but
Picard going to stay as a
last week
lizard?
last
No.
week's episode ended with everyone thinking they're gonna die.
Yeah.
The episode, and then we spent a whole episode ruminating on death. All right.
Yeah.
This isn't anime. We don't need to
No.
spend an hour of television with everyone
Yeah.
thinking about the nature of death.
No, I agree, and I was saying last week that we've spent too long in this nebula,
Yeah.
and thinking we're all dead or being pursued by the Shrike.
Yeah. Not enough
I'm
Vatic.
glad we're out.
Not enough Vatic. And like, you know, we didn't get any Worf or
Or
Raffi.
Raffi. No,
Um
I'm hoping we get a fair amount of them like next
yeah.
week.
And we didn't get
Um,
any Geordie.
no,
I totally
I don't
thought that
think.
this episode was gonna begin with
Yeah.
them being saved from the nebula by Geordie.
Hmm.
Um
I don't think they're going to meet up with Geordie next week. I think they might meet up with Raffi and Worf next week because
mm,
Raffi and Worf know changelings are about.
mm.
These guys know changelings are about, so maybe they send a signal being like, "By the way, there's changelings about," and Worf comes in and be like, "I know this too," but
Do you
I
think
can't say.
Do you think we're maybe gonna get some sneaky extra? Oh, maybe we go to DS. Maybe we meet them on DS9.
Terry Metalis has already said we're not going to DS9 this season.
Son of a bitch!
I mean, we could always get Esri Dax on what's the ship that she's got in the books
The
and online?
Aventine.
The Aventine. We could always get that. I don't think we will, but we could always, there's a chance.
Mm.
You know, I think Kira would be on the station, or we know Kira's still on the station, so we're probably not going to see her. Bashir, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I
Eric.
don't think we're seeing anyone from DS9.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think Andrew Robinson would have been able to keep it quiet if he was in it.
No.
I don't think Colin Meaney could be
I want
asked.
Colin Meaney back.
Oh,
he can be
God,
back.
we all
He can
want
be asked for
Colin
one
Meaney
day.
back. We all want Colin Meaney back.
At least he doesn't have to stick shit to his face like
No, he doesn't
Andrew
have to
Robinson
stick shit
does.
to his face. He doesn't have to put a stupid costume on because he doesn't have to button it all the way up. He can roll
Yeah.
the sleeves up. He could just
Sleeves rolled up.
yeah, man. Oh, we all want Colin Meaney back. He's the most important man in Starfleet history.
He is. So yeah, next week I can foresee Worf and Raffi.
Yeah.
And because we're kind of like answering questions as we go, like this week we got the answer to like, is Vatic a changeling or not? And it's like, oh yes. Maybe
no butt bugs.
Yeah, no butt bugs. Maybe we'll get to know about what the red door was. Set that up so it's not something that we learn about, 10 minutes before the end of the season.
Yeah.
I've got no guesses about the red door.
No.
I've got nothing. Yeah.
I
was like, maybe Picard, it's a vestige holdover from Picard being assimilated and having like Borgified sperm when Jack was conceived, and that's the only thing I've got, and I think that is real slim chances, to be honest.
Oh, the red door. Maybe it's that bar that they were trying to find in that episode of Community.
The red door. Maybe.
Yeah.
Whatever it was in the end. It's the same bar as whatever. Britt was saying. Yeah, I don't know. I've got no idea on that, which, is probably a good thing because so far between us, I think we've guessed, we guessed the escape from the nebula. We guessed, whatever. We didn't guess changelings.
No. It was too easy. It was low-hanging fruit. Too obvious.
Yeah.
My last note that I've got is the ending of the nebula cloud giving birth to a beautiful litter of little baby Cthulhus. Yeah. We didn't see a big Cthulhu, but we saw the little baby Cthulhus. Did you see them? They had little tentacle beards and they had a load of eyes.
And little googly eyes. Yeah.
Oh, One day they're all gonna grow into giant mad priest gods. And
Yeah.
they're all gonna be subjugating whole planets.
Mm.
Oh, serving as
I'm amazed.
metaphor for race.
Metaphor, very loose metaphor. I'm amazed we got a Farpoint mention
Yeah.
as well. That they could have also mentioned the other being that they born out of the Enterprise D at one point, but they didn't mention that.
Mm.
Yeah, the
Which
one
was
where
that?
they had to do a C-section to this space worm, and then a smaller worm flew out of it. TNG, it's weird, man.
So much
It's
weird
weird.
shit.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, the little baby
yeah,
Cthulhu's, they made me smile.
yeah. And it felt like adventure as well. And you can
Yeah.
see, you know,
Like you were
it's
saying, the
nice.
wonder of space.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
I think it was a bit on the nose for Bev to say, strange. What is
What
it?
was it?
Seek
Seek
out
out
new
new
life.
life.
Yeah. Mm. No, man.
Let's boldly get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I've got nothing else in my notes either.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
So that might be an amazing segue
Mm-hmm.
for us to say, like, subscribe, do all the things, normal things
Yep.
that people ask you to.
Do that.
Do that. And then
Live long and prosper, you fucking dipshits from Chicago.
and peace and long life, dipshits.